Well, film buffs, I'm back. This is Straight Shooter, here for another episode of How I See It. I'm at Team Sound Studios, of course, my home away from home, and my review will have spoilers, and this will be another Red Band review. So today, I'm reviewing The Curse of La Llorona. So it's a horror movie. I like good horror movies. I'm not a big fan of the horror genre, but if a horror movie has a good story and it's not just your typical shock gore or whatever, then I'm in. I was drawn to this movie because there was a little tease about being part of the Conjuring universe, and I like the Conjuring movies. This movie has a little snippet where it connects itself to the Conjuring universe, but really it's its separate thing. And I'll go into all that. So the movie is about a curse, duh. It's of a woman that died a long time ago, like in the early 1900s or earlier than that in Mexico. And she caught her husband cheating, and she raged with jealousy. She killed her two kids by drowning them. And after then, she became like a vengeful spirit, and she was haunting people, and she ended up in Los Angeles in the 70s, which is when the movie takes place. She's looking for kids to take their souls because she's lonely without her kids. And she finds two kids in the beginning of the movie, and the mother is, of course, stricken with grief, and she stalks the main character's kids to try to get, because she struck a deal with the spirit to try to get them to have Linda Cardellini, who plays the lead role, her kids take the place of, the kids that she lost. And so the movie takes place in the house of the main character, where her kids live as well. It's a house haunting, but it's a little bit different than Poltergeist or whatever have you, because this vengeful spirit is actually targeting them. It's not just trying to occupy the house. And the movie does really good as far as terror, and there are some jump scares, but the movie isn't relying on jump scares. There's also a lot of creepiness to the movie, which is good for horror. And the story is good because it's actually based on a real legend, and I don't think the legend is a true story, just like The Conjuring is based on the Amityville Horror. Even though it was a true story, whenever they tell these things in film, things get exaggerated, there are facts taken out, there's stuff thrown in there, and I'm absolutely positive it's the same thing with this one. But it still made it for a compelling story because it's not a typical horror villain where she's just pissed off for no reason. I mean, she was driven mad because of what was done to her. And, I mean, yes, people get cheated on, and most people move on or something, but sometimes people have something in their brains that makes them snap, they can't cope, and that's what happened with this woman, and she became the vengeful spirit, the La Llorona. And how the movie ends up is they're in the house and they find a charm that is supposed to repel the spirit. And what it does was it makes her go back to her original form, and she looks like she did in the beginning of the movie, where it shows her origin and how she became to be the spirit. It just distracts her for a moment, and then she realizes what's happening, and then she goes back to the scary monster spirit face. She goes after them, and then that's the one thing about the movie that I'm like, because it was very easy to kill her. They just basically stabbed her with a cross, and then she died. But I think it's also because they had done other stuff up until then, and it's probably a combination of those factors. They just didn't explain that very well, like how she was able to be defeated. It's just, the way they showed it was just, hey, I'm going to stab you, and then she's dead. But But you don't go to a horror movie to nitpick at the details. You go to a horror movie because they're scary and they're creepy. And I think the movie does a good job of that. It keeps you compelled. The whole hour and a half runtime isn't boring. Linda Cardellini, who she's more of a B actress, but a lot of people know her from different projects like Freaks and Geeks, the Scooby-Doo movies. She does a really good job of playing the young mother with the young kids, and shows how terrifying it can be in a claustrophobic environment like that, like trapped in your house, having to fight off this vengeful spirit. It really illustrates how sometimes in horror movies you're up against the evil force and they're just overpowered. They're very strong, very powerful, and there's really nothing you can do to confront them other than maybe do some sort of ritual or whatever it is. Whatever it is they were doing obviously helped towards her defeat in the end. So after her defeat, it's pretty normal. They move out of the house and they move on with their lives. I doubt this is going to be a movie where there's going to be a sequel, because it doesn't really need one. Spirit was defeated in one movie, and that's all there needed to be, I think. I enjoyed the movie. I thought it was entertaining. I thought it was good for a horror movie, and like I said, I'm not a real big fan of horror, but I like certain horror movies. So what would I give the movie? I would give it a B. I thought it was good. I thought it was decent. Will I own it when it comes to disc? Probably not. Because it's just one of those movies that you go and it's a nice surprise, it's decent, but it's not... I don't think it's a movie that I personally would need to rewatch over and over, like movies that I have in my Blu-ray collection. But it was decent. I liked it. So, in conclusion, that's how I see it. And stay tuned, because there are more movies about to come out, like John Wick, Brightburn, another horror movie, and the new Spider-Man's going to come out. I think that's another month or two away, though. In any case, keep watching, and do me a favor, if you like the video, click that thumbs up, subscribe, hit the bell so you can get notified, share the video, spread the word, because we're still trying to build the channel, and we're getting there. We really are getting there. Thanks to you guys. So take care. I'll see you soon.